Because of continued harassment by Fav, he kills a ton of peasants, and Sky never has the chance to build towers. Without an expansion, Sky cannot make any decently sized army. Fav's level 5 panda also counters towers as well as the peasants repairing them. Fav evens it up at 1 game apiece. For Game 3 on Twisted Meadows, Sky reverted back to the Archmage. He does manage to expand, but Fav pulls off an expansion of his own on the island. The first test between the two occurs outside of Sky's second expansion. While Sky manages to win the air battle, Fav stops the Expo from being built. The story of this game is equal, but limited gold for both players and some minor harassment. The game comes down to a battle between heroes, which occurs 30 minutes into the game. Sky wins round 1, forcing a TP by the Death Knight. Fav comes back with a fully healed Death Knight and wins the game and a spot in the finals. Let's move on to the other semifinal with Moon against Todd.
Game 1 on Echo Isle starts the same as Todd's game against Remind, but quickly changes as Moon's harassment falls through. Because of Moon's Expo, he is unable to effectively harass Todd's Expo. Todd forces the battles to be at Moon's Expo, stopping it from finishing. Due to Todd's economy, the final battle becomes more of a formality than anything. Todd easily wins Game 1 over Moon. After expanding on every other map, Todd is essentially obligated to expand on Lost Temple. But instead of defending his expansion, he goes to Moon's base to harass. Moon is stuck teching with 6 wisp mining wood instead of his normal 9. Todd continues his harassment at Moon's Expo, slowing it down considerably. Again, Todd just overwhelms Moon with a significantly larger army combined with the tower push. Game over. Fav's victory over Sky and Todd's victory over Moon puts them both in the finals, just inches away from the $10,000 first place prize.
Todd starts out by creeping his Expo, and he creeps it right, without losing peasants. That simple statement sums up why Todd did better than Sky. Todd used the correct strategy with awesome micro, while Sky used a bad strategy with shitty micro. Todd loses a single peasant to Fav's limited harassment, which sets him up perfectly for the late game. Todd uses his somewhat small army in an attempt to stop Fav's Expo. Somehow, Todd comes through with awesome micro and wins the battle. Todd pulls out an 80 food army to fight Fav's measly 50 food army. Steam tanks were the perfect choice. They counter destroyers and gargoyles while also demolishing towers. Add to that Todd's impeccable staff usage and you have a lethal combination. Todd has such a dramatic economy advantage that by the final battle there's nothing Fav can do but concede the game. Game 2 on Twisted Meadows goes differently. Todd gets harassed early and things start to go downhill. Todd is able to win a battle and put up an Expo, but it comes rather late, and instead of only needing a few towers to defend, Todd needs 5 or 6 in both his base and at his expansion. Todd finally starts his tech 10 minutes into the game and never finishes it. Fav wins easily to force a Game 3. Game 3 on Echo Isles predictably started with an Expo by Todd. Instead of harassing early, Fav waits until he has level 3 Panda, giving Todd time to finish the expansion. They fight at Tier 1 for a long time. Todd actually techs before Fav, but it still comes late, about 9 minutes into the game. While Fav has a larger army, Todd has a level 5 Archmage against ghouls. Todd sees Fav's expansion and attempts to take it down. After a long battle, Todd successfully destroys the expansion and gains level 6 on his Archmage, as does the Panda. When Todd harasses with a small army late in the game, Fav sees victory, while he should flash back to Game 1 against Sky, where Sky pulled an 80 food army out of nowhere. Todd does just that as Fav watches the $10,000 first place prize slip out of reach.
Todd just won this game, and he's done very well in the whole tournament. Why has he been so dominant, Seed?
He's just so well practiced. I mean, if you look at all of his games, his micro is always spot on. You can tell he's been probably playing hundreds and hundreds of games in these past few weeks. And his strategies, he always knows exactly what he's doing and what he should counter with. Now, add on to that, the maps are hugely in his favor in this tournament. The fast Expo strategy on Echo Isles and Terranistan just works all too well, so that also helps him out. But it's mainly just he's the best practiced player here.
The human fast Expo, do you think that's imbalanced?
I think at some level it's kind of like the old Beastmaster Bear strategy way back when in early Frozen Throne. What happened there is everybody thought this strategy was really imbalanced. It was winning tons and tons of games until people realized, hey, why do I bother with the Bear and the Beastmaster? I'll just run past them and go after the archers. I think it's the same concept here. It looks really, really imbalanced. It looks pretty dumb, massing towers. But in the end, once people start figuring out how to counter it, you can counter it, and it's really not that bad. The one thing that does make it unfair, I think, is that some of these maps are just so blatantly biased towards the human fast expo. Think of maps like Lost Temple, that those maps are probably imbalanced, but in general, I think it's a balance.
So, Seed, for those players who don't know, how do you counter the human fast expo?
I think what most people were doing wrong in this tournament is that they get level 3 on their own hero first before they harass the expo. If you go straight at them and you're there while they're building it, you can kill a ton of peasants, and more importantly, you can stop towers from being built. Once the towers are up, it gets much, much harder. Now, if you do wait and they do get the expo up, you can still do things. The first thing what you need to do is expo yourself. If you don't, the gold gap is just going to be very, very large. If you can expo yourself, you'll do very, very well, as we've seen in this tournament. Let's start off the top plays. Coming in at number 5, Sky just gets screwed over by some creeps there. He took out too many trees in between his expo and the creeps.
Now look how far into night it is. These creeps have been doing it all night since today. That's a long time walking back and forth.
And now on to game 2. Fav gets screwed over even more by the Wand of Lightning Shield. This cost him a trip to the finals.
Here we have Fav sending a Sapper over to Grubby expansion. Grubby was creating a lot of expansion, and he had it coming. But unfortunately, the Sapper was not able to kill the expansion.
He just missed it. Now on to top play number 3, also from Grubby against Fav. Here the Blade Master doing a little creeping before the Death Knight comes in. He gets the Death Coil off, but then knows that he has to buy the Dusk of Appearance.
Yeah, and he gets that look at that range. He's still able to see the Blade Master. Grubby doesn't think that he can see the Blade Master, but the coil goes off, Blade Master eats it.
Top play number 2, also from Fav against Grubby. Grubby starts off with a Sapper, he just kills one burrow.
Another Sapper comes in for revenge against that. Acolytes try to kill it, but instead the Sapper ends up taking out 3 Acolytes and 2 Ziggurats.
And now finally on to top play number 1. We have a very low HP Meat Wagon here, runs back to the Zeppelin and gets saved.
That's great, and it's really difficult for the Paladin to do anything. He's not ranged, he doesn't have an orb so he could take down a Zeppelin or anything.
And if you think about this is just StarCraft all over. I mean, think about those great Reaver drops as Protoss during StarCraft. They used to do that all day long.
And we hated you for it. That's it for the top plays.
The worldwide invitational came to an end with Todd hoisting his $10,000 check, but we will be seeing more Blizzard tournaments later with BlizzCon later this summer. But the next big tournament is WC3L. We'll be covering that with a couple of videos. What are your predictions for that, Civilian?
World Elite is ranked number 1 right now, and in the past games they've done well against both SK and 4K. They have a lot of players, and I think that they're going to win it.
You know what, personally, I just have to go with 4 Kings. Todd is way too good right now. Grubby's looking good. Crayo's looking good. You just can't beat 3-star players like that. Anyway, that's all for this week. We'll see you later.
They've lost Fav. It seems like they've lost a little bit of faith in the team, and Fav's a good player, If they had Fav, I'd say yes, 4K, but without him, no.
How many points do you need to win a clan war? I think it's 3. You don't need 4.